Everybody just heard us say bad football team and thought it was the Jets.
I literally said bad football team. They're like, all right, Jets, and I was like,
Someone
no.
said Texans.
Texans, Eagles was guessed a lot. And
No one guessed Lions.
No.
No one can like conceive. No one can like perceive someone like taking a job with the Lions.
Nobody could. You willingly moved to Detroit. Welcome to our episode of Boom or Bust, the draft show. Max Chadwick alongside Tate, Sigworth, and Nick Merriam. So broke down the two top quarterbacks in this year's draft, Spencer Rattler from Oklahoma and UNC's Sam Howell. Now we're breaking down who a lot of people has as the top prospect period in this draft, and that is Oregon edge defender Kayvon Thibodeaux. We're going to go over his strengths, weaknesses, where he ranks for us on our boards, get player comps for him, and what NFL teams he might fit at the next level. Before we start the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Of course, be sure to follow our Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Boom or Bust Draft. We're on YouTube and also everywhere you get your podcasts. Please like us, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, do everything. Please check out the merch store. And please keep supporting us, because support for us is brought to you by that right here. This is the Manscaped 4.0, by the way. 3.0, throw out the window. Buy the 4.0. Summer's coming.
I got my bucks.
Are you ready to unveil your beach bod? Today's episode is brought to you by Manscaped, our go-to for men's full-body grooming products. From the legends who introduced the greatest electric ball hair trimmer ever, Manscaped is now introducing the Ultra Smooth Package, a razor and formulation kit designed for the brave men out there who like to go to the skin when they trim their balls. Your new nickname is going to be the Bald Eagle after using the Ultra Smooth Package. Men, there's nothing worse than that ingrown hair when you go to the skin, especially when it's summer bod season, which it is right now. It's time to get ready for hot guy summer by going to manscaped.com for 20% off with free shipping with the code BOOMERBUST. That's BOOMERBUST, all caps, no spaces, for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Trim your chesticles with the besticles with Manscaped. Dominic, these are, again, you keep outdoing yourself, man.
Max, how is that summer bod coming?
Pretty terribly. Combine,
okay.
Hopefully, will be happening soon. We'll see.
Someday.
It's going well for the brand, though.
It's going well. Yeah, the brand is going to be
the brand is what matters.
I'm in all-time low in terms of fitness right now. So summer bod not going well, but I will be trimmed because of this right here. Manscaped.
That's true.
Trim.
Aerodynamic, you could say.
Very aerodynamic. Won't help me much. Trim off a couple tenths of a second off my 6.5 time in the 4. So let's go over the background on someone who actually is really athletic. That's Kayvon Thibodeaux, the junior from Oregon, 6'5", 250 pounds. He's a former 5-star recruit, number 2 overall and number 2 edge in 2019, coming out of California. Freshman All-American in 2019, made the AP Pac-12 All-Conference first team, AP third team All-American in 2020. And in 2 years, he has 12 sacks, 23.5 tackles for loss, 6 passes defensed, and a forced fumble. So, Tate, let's start with you. When you watch Kayvon Thibodeaux, what do you like the most?
A lot of things. I mean, I think that might be one of the few people here in this podcast right now just bracing for what's coming from Nick and Max that are still on the Kayvon Thibodeaux train. His size, athletic ability, he just has like an awesome jump off the ball when you watch him. He's always just the first off the ball, blowing by the tackles. He just blows dudes away around the edge. He's your classic, true edge rusher, maybe something that was missing in last year's draft class, but he is exactly that, is a true classical edge rusher. He's got speed, he's got power, he's got a little bit of both. Mainly a speed guy, but, you know, he has power to back it up. Pedigree. Second video without PJ, no pedigree for PJ, but 5-star recruit, number 2 player in the nation. Just, you know, ridiculous. And just a dominant freshman year. I'm going to just rattle off some accolades that maybe overlapped what you just said. Team record for sacks and led the team in tackles for loss as a true freshman. Most Pac-12 freshman sacks since 2009. Pac-12 Freshman Defensive Player of the Year, consensus Freshman All-American, and first team AP All-Pac-12. Just a ridiculous true freshman. He's going to be 21 on draft day, good age. He just has all of the true edge rushing abilities. bullied Elijah Vera Tucker as well. PJ, rip PJ again. His trade up first round pick.
Should have had better draft picks.
So yeah, a lot to like about Kayvon Thibodeaux.
Yeah, physically he's ready for the NFL. I mean, we saw it right off the jump. Double-digit sacks in year one, unbelievable. The production as a young player is great, and it gives you that extra time to kind of fine-tune your game, which we'll get to a little bit later. He's obviously a great athlete. He's got the speed that you need. I think he's got power. He's aggressive with his arms. Unbelievable motor. He's a guy who does not quit on plays. If the play extends and the quarterback's running around, he's the dude while the rest of the linemen are kind of standing around. He's like making his way across the field to do what the other players aren't. I love to see that from guys. He can rush from both sides, and he's physical. He'll get up against bigger tackles with his aggressive hands. He'll push guys back, and he's produced. And I just think with all those tools, as we see with a lot of these guys who are just raw athletes at the edge rusher position, once you start developing those tools, those abilities to throw out different pass rush moves, you see the numbers fall and you become really, really highly touted edge rushing prospects. That's what's happening with this guy. He showed up immediately. He was supposed to be good. He produced. A little more fine-tuning, and I think he's headed on his way to being a top pick in this year's NFL draft.
Yeah, look, if you were to build an edge defender in a lab, it looked a lot like Kayvon Thibodeaux. 6'5", 250, unreal get-off, unreal explosion. I think he translates speed to power really, really well, can bully opposing tackles. His change of direction ability is top-notch. Nick, you mentioned the motor, which I noticed too, and also he never came off the field. Like, they would sub in a lot of other defensive linemen in Oregon. Kayvon Thibodeaux would stay in every single defensive play. So this guy, it was like an Iron Man. He played every single play and still was going balls to the wall for our guys at Manscaped every single snap as well. And then Tate, you mentioned it too. That Pac-12 championship game, man. PJ would like to make the argument that snap count was off for USC, but there's no way around it. I mean, he dominated Elijah Vera Tucker, who, by the way, was the 14th overall pick. He had double-digit pressures, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, a pass defense, was the MVP of the Pac-12 championship game. Not a lot of times you see the defensive player being MVP. So
you want to talk about Max talking about the Micah Parsons bowl game performance.
Yep.
Thibodeau's performance was like kind of on the same level where he was just so dominant, so clearly like the best player on the field.
And he wore him down. Like it was pretty good in the first half. The second half is really where he started just wearing down that USC offensive line.
Yeah.
And that's the motor. Like that's just
it got to the point where like I was just watching Kayvon Thibodeaux every play. Like I didn't care what happened other than that. I was like, wow, this guy's dominating. I'm just gonna watch the guy every play. We posted I think like 5 or 6 different videos on the Brewer Bus Twitter that night. Just be like, hey, 2021 draft, we're doing a lot of 2021 draft. Obviously follows for that, but 2022, man, holy crap, this guy might be edge 1 for 2021. He definitely would have been edge 1 for 2021. But Nick, let's go over the weaknesses for Kayvon Thibodeaux. What do you think they are?
So I got a couple. I think his lateral quickness isn't great, especially against the run. I think there's a lot of times where he allows gaps to open up so he can try and bait a running back, so he can go and make the tackle. And when he leaves like not a lot of space so he can get over and make the tackle, it goes well. But either he leaves too much space for running backs, or he just has a really hard time covering lateral distance, because a lot of these times he comes up short and then running backs are running right past him. His run defense, I think, dipped a little bit last year because of this. Subpar get off at times. You see it at when it works for him. I think it's great. I think at other times I feel like he's being a little too patient, or he needs to work at it. I don't really know what the thing is there, but really the thing that stuck out for me is he is just so raw. I don't think he. And we see guys come out like Myles Garrett, like Chase Young, who are these super athletic pass rushers, and they say they need to get more pass rush moves. Like they use this one move over and over again, and they need to just refine that part of their game and get used to using other moves. I'm not certain Thibodeaux has like one move yet. And because of that, I think there is some development that needs to be had before we start talking about him as a potential lock in as a top 3, top 5 pick in this draft.
I think my biggest thing, besides maybe, general refinement, adding more pass rep moves, because I agree, maybe he's limited, maybe he just doesn't need it, because one thing works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we'll see about that. But I just think the Oregon system, we've talked about it a little bit privately, like in our text chat and stuff and on Skype calls, but just sometimes they line him up at like inside linebacker and just have him rush the A gap. Like, what are we doing? This
Oregon doesn't know how
is
to use their players, man. Panay
No.
Sewell, they kind of wasted. Justin Herbert, we didn't know if he was good or not, and now Kayvon Thibodeaux. I was like, dude, what are you doing, man? You got superstars.
so many people were wrong on Herbert just because like you just didn't see it.
They just
really
ran
because
screens. That's all I did was screens.
they just ran screens and you couldn't see how good Justin Herbert was.
Yeah.
And lining up Kayvon Thibodeaux at the A gap and just having an inside linebacker, like that's just kind of stupid because he's such a good edge rusher. Like let him do that, please, and stop stunting him. Yeah, just stop stunting his growth. Let him work these pass rush moves that we're talking about that he needs to add to his game and get more reps where he like actually should be playing. That's my biggest thing.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Nick, you mentioned he's raw, not many pass rushing moves to speak of. He kind of, how he wins right now is just pure athleticism. Like he's just a freak and he's just winning based off that, which is good because it's scary to think about what can happen if he gets good coaching next level, but still he's very, very raw right now. Also kind of inconsistent. The first few games of 2020 weren't good. He wasn't that good at all. Second half of 2020, he was literally unstoppable. So you want to see him play well all year this year. Also, the competition, Pac-12 isn't great in terms of the offensive lines he's going to face. He is going up against Tate's team, Ohio State, which is going to be
the Ohio State, Max, please.
Ohio State. They got the best tackle duo in the nation in Thayer Munford and Nicholas Petit-Frere. So that game is going to be must-see TV for the 2022 draft because Kayvon Thibodeaux against those two will be – you'll see a lot from all three of those guys because all three of those guys look like prospects right now. So we'll see who's actually really good. Missed tackles, too. They're an issue on tape. And I want to see him add a little bit of weight, get up to like 260, 265, because right now he's 6'5", 250. I think he's got room on that frame to build a little bit. So, Tate, give me the bottom line on Thibodeaux, where he ranks for you, player comp, and any team fits you got for next level.
All right. Similar to kind of Rattler Howell being at this point in time for me kind of interchangeable. I haven't decided if they're, number one, number two overall, yada, yada. I think Thibodeaux and then Derek Stingley, who we're going to talk about in the video for Tuesday, are kind of 3-4 for me. I'm not really sure where exactly to put them in what order. Obviously, a lot could change over the next year, depending on how these guys play and who else might come up. But for now, he's edge one. He's a top 5 player for me. My comp, I'm going DeMarcus Ware, I guess. Another long, pretty quick edge rusher. Credit Daniel Jeremiah. It actually came out an article today, day of recording, with this comp, and there's been like 800 articles as a result. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I agree. I like it. I don't really see anybody else. I don't want to put out like Myles Garrett or anybody like freakishly. I know DeMarcus Ware is a awesome player, a great player. But I didn't feel comfortable doing that. So I'm going to DeMarcus Ware, edge one for now, top 4 or 5 player for me.
Some might say DeMarcus Ware better than Myles Garrett, but I don't know, Tate. I don't know.
Hey, I got some homerism working in my blood. I feel like we're discounting that.
Myles Garrett, I'm just do the Hall of Famer. DeMarcus Ware. Tate's becoming a meme. Love it.
I hate comps. Comps are not my favorite.
Wilson for Rattler, and I was like, do Zach Wilson, and now I'm just saying 2022. I think Tate's the one that's going a little out there this year.
Hey, Baker Mayfield, toss that in too.
I'm on the hot seat.
Yeah, so Max talked about Thibodeaux adding weight. Yeah, I think he has to. I think he's really long and he's strong and he's got the speed, but he doesn't play like a 250-pound edge rusher, He plays like someone who has more weight on him, and I just think if he continues to play that way, he's going to have to put on some weight at the NFL level. So my comp for him right now is just an athletic guy who's also 6'5", 250, another guy whose pass rush win rate is like under his sack expectation, which is what kind of happened with Kayvon last year. I've been told we can't really like say like exactly pass rush win rate numbers. Let's just say I've gotten them from different sites because there's different types of them. I actually did look at a bunch of different sites and that kind of lines up. But Brian Burns, that's my comp. A guy who came into the league as just an athlete. A lot of people were wondering how he's going to fit as effectively a speed rusher. Size hasn't been an issue. Other than maybe some injury troubles at times, but he has produced as a pass rusher at the NFL level, and he struggled against the run, which, I think also fits with Thibodeaux, so I think it's similar. As far as how high I have on my board, I don't know, because I really have only graded like 5 players, But I'm gonna put like a soft number 6 overall as a guess for him. I have the 2 quarterbacks over him. I think Stingley's the best non-QB prospect in this class, which we'll talk about in a video coming up. And then he's in a spot where he can improve and jump up from the number 6 spot. The way I see him right now, last year at this time we're talking about Gregory Rousseau as number 1 edge player, and he's way ahead of Gregory Rousseau. Like, there's a gap there, but I don't think he's with the Myles Garrett, Chase Youngs yet.
Yeah, I completely agree. After a bad edge class, Nick mentioned it. I think Thibodeaux's back to that star edge we're used to seeing every year, but I don't think he's in that Myles Garrett, Bosa Brothers, Chase Young tier where you're like, okay, those guys are like going to be superstars in the NFL. Like, we just know it. Mike Renner said this on the 2-for-1 pod. He said he's more in that Bradley Chubb tier. I think I kind of agree with that. Like, Bradley Chubb, I liked a lot coming out of NC State, but there were a lot of warts, and I was like, yeah, he'll be good. I know he'll be good. I don't know if he's gonna be a superstar. I'm kind of there with Thibodeaux, which I know a lot of people aren't. A lot of people want to put him in that Bosa, Chase Young, Garrett tier, but I'm not there yet. I think he is better than any of the edges we had, though, by a mile this year. The physical tools, all there. He's still raw, though. As of right now, my number 4 prospect, number 1 edge, he's behind Rattler, Howell, and Stingley on my board. Player comp, I saw this a couple times, and I kind of like it. Robert Quinn. Both great size, freaky tools. When Quinn put it all together in 2013, he was one of the best defensive players in the league. But he's had kind of an up and down career. Otherwise, I think Thibodeaux is kind of similar, where it's like, if he puts it all together, look out. But he could have an up and down career. He's kind of had at Oregon so far. Team fits, Texans, Lions, Eagles, whoever misses out on the quarterbacks, because I think there is a drop-off as of right now. Obviously, there's going to be someone that comes out of nowhere like Zach Wilson, Joe Burrow. But after Rattler and Howell, I think there's a big drop-off to like someone like Malik Willis. And then potentially, I want to keep throwing out Denver. If they want to move on from Von Miller, the Giants, the Bengals, they could both use edges. So those are some teams I think could get Kayvon Thibodeaux. But that's what we got on Kayvon Thibodeaux. So please like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment what you think about Thibodeaux. Is he the number 1 overall player in 2022? Because a lot of people think so. So let us know. Also, comment what video you want us to do next. Follow our Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at BoomerBustDraft, or leave a review on our podcast. Check out the website below. Hit our merch store. And, of course, go to manscaped.com and use the promo code BoomerBust, all caps, no spaces, for 20% off and free shipping. So for Tate Sigworth and Nick Merriam, I'm Max Chadwick. Have a great night.